Hello,
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Good, good. How is everything in Turkey? Hi, everybody.
Yeah, we are fine, and just we are trying manage our event, and everything is fine. Thank you for your interest and your session. Um, I am Enes. I am team lead of GDG Bursa. Yeah, you know me. Okay.
Yes, yes. We're all GDG family. So even though we're far away, we are closer now.
Yeah, yeah. So now I'm just living and here is your session. Okay.
Okay.
Ciao.
See you. Well, hi, everybody. I hope that everybody is having a good Saturday. This is such a great event. Thanks for the invite. You're going to learn a lot today about different topics related with the web. And yeah, so let's start. One of the things that actually we are going to start talking is a really nice topic that is called PWAs or Progressive Web App. If you stay here during the event, you're going to learn about how you can build a better PWA. There's other friends of mine that are speakers that have such nice topics for you. And in my case, I want to share how you can actually improve your PWA and what is currently happening with PWAs. First of all, my name is Laura. I'm a developer advocate for Samsung Internet. I live in London. I'm also a Google developer expert for Firebase, and I'm such a huge fan of GDG Turkey community. So I hope that I can go back soon to see you all. So yeah, let's start. If you didn't hear about what is a PWA, a progressive web app is just a modern web application that basically is going to use web technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and it will create features that feels that is a native app. For example, there is one of the features that PWAs are pretty famous about is the ability to have your web app installed. Okay, so this is one of the things that developers really like because sometimes we think that PWAs is the same that an install web app, but not. It's not mandatory to be a PWA to get it installed. So installation is just a property. That's something important that we have to know. And the ability to have a PWA install is something like it's pretty recent. It's pretty new. So I'm gonna tell you how does it work, how you can actually make your PWA install, and how users can find your PWA. So first of all, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is, again, a PWA should feel like a native app. So that's why one of the things that can make feel your app as a native app is the icon filter that you can see as a native app. For example, here you see in an Android phone, in this case, the app of my PWA that you can see over there with the red circle is called Pigment, and actually the user doesn't see the difference if it's a native app or a web app. And you can find it in this case in your Android home screen or in other platforms, not only Android, for example, Windows desktop. That's the good thing about PWAs, that users can reach out to your web app from different platforms, not only web or a mobile device. Okay, and then that's pretty cool. But how the users can find your PWA? Recently we have such a good news for developers, because in our case, it's okay that we can have different features, different ways to install our app, but I want that the user find my app and actually like it and install it if they want. So with distribution, first thing first, we're talking about web apps, right? So it's not necessary to go into any different place than the web. Users, if you are going to show to the users that your app can be installed, depending on which browser, the user can see, for example, in this case, with Samsung Internet browser, you can see a badge that it will tell the user, hey, this is a PWA, you can actually install it. Okay, that's one of the main capabilities. And then second, in other browsers, for example, in Firefox, you have a prompt that is called add to home screen. So with this, the user can say, hey, maybe this is something that I would like to get installed. So you can have the ability to tell the user that your web app is a PWA. But there's something else that you have to keep in mind. This whole part of installation and distribution can sound pretty cool. And you probably think, okay, I want like every user that goes to my website install their app. But you have to know that there's certain kind of requirements before show the user that you can install your web app. For example, we're going to talk a little bit about manifest file. Your manifest file should be valid. And also, it's not just to show a prompt message for the user, because what happens if the user has this app already installed as a native app, right? That's something that can be a conflict. So the idea is to show to the user that they can install it, but as a developer, you can manage this request. You can manage this event and choose when you can show these messages, for example, add to home screen. But in the other side, we have other good news about PWAs. Not that so long ago, PWAs were a concept that was really popular, and right now browsers are having modern web APIs that you can actually use your device hardware and make it feel like a native app. You can actually kind of compete to native app, but that's a different story that we are going to talk a little bit before at the end of our session. But the good news is that actually right now, besides having a way to find your PWA in the web, you also have the ability to publish your PWA into the store, right? In this case, for example, you have two different distributions when it's about Android phones. The first one that I will share with you is available in the US, and actually is planning to have these worldwide. It depends like how PWAs are going, but that's another story that we can talk later. This is a Galaxy store, our Samsung store for different apps that you can install. And as you can see here, there is a new category that is called web apps. So basically, if you have a PWA that is with a good performance and it should pass some requirements just to make it that is valid, you can contact the Galaxy Store and publish your Galaxy Store in the US. There are a few other things that we have to keep in mind because, again, this is pretty new. I think it has a few months. And besides Galaxy Store, other super cool news is related with TWAs. TWAs are also a way that you can actually, doing a TWA, you can actually do publish your PWA into the Google Play Store. Again, as developers, we all want that users can reach out to our apps, and there are other things that we can keep in mind with these. For example, monetize your web app, right? And with TWAs, that's something that you will see later today. It's basically a PWA that actually you add certain kind of features that it allows you to publish your PWA into the Galaxy Store, right? If you want more information about these, you can check. There's a few talks, I can send you links later, how to publish your PWA into Google Play Store. In the case of Samsung, you can just reach out to the Galaxy Store and just publish your store there. Again, this is your PWA there into the store. Again, this is something really new. Actually, in Samsung, we are checking what is the best way for developers to publish your PWA. If there are a few things that we have to keep in mind. For example, categories, icons, how actually users can find a better way to publish their PWAs. Actually, most of the PWAs that you can see in the Galaxy Store are related with games because those are the ones that are more popular right now. And again, if you have a PWA that you would like to see into the Galaxy Store, please reach out to us. And yeah, I would love to see more of what developers are looking for. I think if we can make the process to publish our app into any store much more simple, we can reach out more developers, and why not bring to the web a place that the web deserves it, right? So we talk about TWAs, and something that I would like to also let you know. For example, in Chromium, there is something called Web View, right? That before it allows you to make your PWA look like a native app into your Android phone, right? And with these, you can see the properties of your PWA in the device. For example, how much battery you're using and so on. So this is one of the things that you have available right now. Now there are other options that you will see later. I don't want to go in advance with other topics about other speakers. So please stay tuned and see what else you can do with your PWA. At the moment, you just have to remember that you have the chance to first make your web app a PWA, make it installable so people, users can install your PWA into whatever it is, desktop or Android. And you have different channels of distribution. For example, the Galaxy Store and the Google Play Store with TWAs. Other thing that we have to remember, why everybody is talking about PWAs now, because currently browsers have the ability to actually use modern web APIs. For example, things related with the hardware. Before, we were not able to use Bluetooth related with our device, USB, others, And other cool thing that we can do right now with PWAs are push notifications. With these, I want to also share with you that are some cool projects around that you can actually build better PWAs and use any of these modern web APIs. That's the case of Fugu, for example. If you check Fugu, you will see that you have a lot of capabilities that you can use in your PWA. So I suggest to take a look into Google and see what's going on in our modern web APIs. So let's go back to the installation property. We were talking about the manifest file. That's something that I told you at the very beginning. And the manifest file is one of the things that you need to have into your PWA. This is in the technical definition. I like to say that a PWA should have HTTPS, security, service worker. That's something that you will see soon with other speaker, and the manifest file. The manifest file is just a JSON file. It's not much complicated. And in this file, you will see some properties that will allow your app to have this kind of native app feeling. For example, the icon that we mentioned before, right? And allows discoverability. So how does it look like to have a manifest file like this? It's just a JSON file. And here you will see some properties, for example, a name, short name, your start URL, description. This is kind of the basic manifest file that you should add. And regarding which are the properties, if you want to see more of the properties that you can put into your progressive web app, I suggest to take a look into MDN developers documentation. Okay, so again, this is pretty simple. If we put our start URL, the icon that we want to show to the user once this is installed, and if our PWA has already HTTPS and a service worker, we are ready to give a lot of features that are related with making feel your app like a native app, right? And besides that, as you can see, there are even orientation. You can put a background color and other categories related. So let's see other thing. Something that you have to keep in mind, especially with PWAs. If you already work with PWAs, this is not something new. We were talking about how a PWA can look like, but also what about performance? Performance is really important, especially once that we start working with service worker that you will see in some talks later. So please try to use different code tools that actually can check how is the state of your web app. In my case, I really like Lighthouse. So for example, one of the things that some store can start measure is the performance of your web app. If your web app is not having a really good performance score, maybe you're not allowed to publish that into, let's say, the Galaxy Store. So this is something really important because progressive web apps at the end is about best practices. It's about to deliver a better experience to the user. So one of the things that we have to keep in mind is performance. Take a look into Lighthouse. If you are already familiar with Lighthouse, doing that. If you didn't take anything related with web, you will see today that there are a lot of cool news about Lighthouse. There's something that is called Web Vitals that you can also check. So take a look with Lighthouse and see how your web app is going in terms of performance. Other cool tool that I would like to share with you is, I've been talking about manifest file. I've been talking that there's other property of PWAs called service worker. So if you are into building your first PWA and you're not sure about how actually, which kind of features you're missing, or you need help building your first service worker, I suggest you start checking Pwa Builder. This is a tool made by Microsoft that is available to everybody, that actually you can just put your website URL and it will give you some stats of your website. It's super nice. You can even do your manifest file from there. So I suggest to take a look into that. It would basically make your life more simple. And then what about the good news that we have around PWA? Which are the new capabilities that you can use? So recently, Twitter launched their PWA. Yes, even though it already exists before, now you can see that the PWA of Twitter was launched into the Chrome store. So there's something called shortcuts that the PWA of Twitter is using. Let's see. So at the very beginning, we've been talking about the icon, and now there is an ability that actually you can do shortcuts in terms of certain kind of functionality of which are the shortcuts into these functionalities of your web app. For example, in here you can see that you can create a new tweet, explore notifications, the basic activity that you can do with Twitter. This is available with PWAs. You can add shortcuts using your manifest file. And actually, what you need to do is to upload the icons to each shortcut and change a few things related with your manifest file. But again, this is something new. I suggest to take a look, first of all, to the PWA that is related with Twitter, play around and see if this thing applies to your web app. And finally, something really cool that I would like to share with you. Again, this is not new, but you will see that is in most of the talks that we will hear, that is called immersive mode, right? What is this? So basically, when we talk about PWAs, we mentioned that it's important to still have this look and feel of a native app. So if we open any other web app and we still see the status bar, the Chrome URL bar, and this kind of stuff, there's something that you're still missing. It's like you're just going into the web. So what is immersive mode? Is the ability to have your web app full screen. Again, this is something that improves the quality of the experience of your using or your user using a web app. That's one thing. And second, think about games. Actually, if you are a user and you have one PWA that is related with games and you already install it, from that icon you launch something like this, that it's full screen, so you don't have to go around and say, hey, maybe I don't feel like I need to press full screen if I'm in the browser or something like that at all. And how you achieve this as a developer, again, this is related with the display of your web app. You need to change the manifest file. The manifest file has different options, as I mentioned before, that actually you can choose which is the screen that the user will see once that the PWA is launched from the icon. And one of the options is full screen. So take a look into that manifest file. I also suggest to start playing around different modes and see how does it look like in your web app. And that's it. Those are the news that are related with the latest trends about PWAs. Also, this is an introduction if you've never been working with PWAs before. Take a look into your web app. At the end, progressive web apps means a better experience to the user. And if you want to keep in touch, or you're working with a nice PWA and you need some kind of feedback, or if you're interested in to publish your PWA into the Galaxy Store at Samsung, please let's keep in touch. And I hope that you enjoyed the session and stay around because we have other sessions with some other friends. So yeah, thanks a lot.